Hello! I did a load of filming yesterday down at the Little Farmer's Farm, and because my laptop's knackered, I think that's the reason, we lost it all. It all went corrupted. Tried to get it off onto a data stick and wasn't having it. So if I get this up on YouTube tonight, this is Sunday the 19th of May 2019. If I get this up tonight, then happy days, get inside it. But if not, it's because of technical issues. I need a new laptop, or I need a new PC or something that's going to be a bit more reliable, faster, better processing. The laptop I've got was a second-hand laptop anyway. It was about 100 quid that I got from one of the local computer shops. One of those second-hand computer shops about 2 years ago. It's knackered, but we're skint. So I need to sort of justify getting a better setup. Enough of my troubles and woes, because I've not really got any troubles and woes. I'll show you what I've been up to. Alright, see you in a bit. So, as you probably know if you've been following the channel, I need to get the tomatoes sorted out because they're in the buckets in here at the moment. Or they were. I had 9. And I don't want to leave them in there. I want to sort something out for them because in the glass house here, they were getting too much sun. And I can't shade them out because I've not got the net curtains at the moment. So I'm going to make room for them in the hand-built greenhouse that I created last year, the timber one with the 4mm clear polycarbonate glass, if you will. So to do that, what I decided to do was to create a bed in a similar fashion to how Joe did his bed, the wise old elf. I say similar fashion, it's not exactly the same setup as you'll see in a second, so I'll just show you that. So we're in the top greenhouse, the timber framed one that I built last year, if you remember. And the benches were on both sides like that. I built the benches on both sides and had it as a sort of potting up and nursery greenhouse, this one, last year. But because the benches are so high, you can't really plant anything in, or you couldn't, until you do that. So what I've done there is I've taken all the benches out and raised up the base of it to create that raised bed. As I say, it's in a similar fashion to how we were shown by Joe, the wise old elf, a couple of episodes ago. So up comes the bed. And what I've done to create this bed is that inside the bed, it was like that. Basically, as you can see at the top, it was full of old weed, got bindweed and horsetail coming through, you know what I mean. You got your perennials, your annuals. I cleared all of that out, the whole lot as best as I could, down to bare soil, and then I put cardboard, layers of cardboard inside there as a cover, and weed membrane, a biodegradable weed membrane inside that. As I say, I raised the bed sides up by another 5 inches. So in total, you've got about 8 inches worth of bed. Filled it up with the compost. It took 4.5 75-litre bags of compost. I filmed all this yesterday. Oh, but it all got corrupted and it's all dead and it's gone. So I'll have to sort of talk you through what I've done. So, as I say, cleared all the weeds out from it. Back down to bare earth, soaked the earth with about 60 litres of water from the rain barrels, put the cardboard as a mulch on top of it, a good thick layer of that, couple of layers of the cardboard on top of that, soaked that yet again with another 30 litres of water, stomped it in so as it squeezed into all the nooks and crannies at the base of the bed and up about 4 inches at the sides of the bed, then filled it up with 4.5 bags of 75 litre, and it was the Irish stuff. It was the Irish compost. It's not erin compost. I'll tell you in a minute what that was. So that was all filled up. I also amended it by mixing in for every sort of, well, it's 20 inches this, so every 20 inches by 20 inches, I put a good handful of the bloodfish and bone in. The compost itself's got 4 to 6 weeks worth of feed, it says, for plants in there, but there's bloodfish and bone gone in there. There's bloodfish and bone gone in there, as well as the compost, and they're probably in that bed, which is an 8 foot by 20 inch foot weight. I'm rambling out. 8 feet by 20 inch raised bed, which is 8 inches deep. There are probably about 10 handfuls of bloodfish and bone mixed in with the compost, and then I put about 80 litres more of the water, which I sprinkled in with the 10 litre watering can to get it damp. Planted in by taking out of the buckets. They were in these buckets, so I made a hole using this as a mould into the compost. So dug my hole out, shoved that down in up until the rim, pulled it out, and then you've got the mould of that. Then I took the tomato plant out of it, put it in the hole, watered it in, watered the plant in around its base, and then I made the pop bottles. They're actually water bottles, so those are 2 litre water bottles that you can see there. These 2 litre water bottles. Now at the bottom of these 2 litre water bottles you've got the base, obviously, so you make a little bit of a hole with a sharp knife, and then you cut round with your scissors, take that bottom part out. Where the lid is, I drilled 2 little holes, and it's very fine holes. I think it was like a 3 or 4 millimetre drill bit that I used to drill the 2 little holes in the top of the pop bottle. And then you want to put 4 holes about 2 inches from the neck, from where the bottle top is, about 2 inches there. Yeah, come up, Pat! Pat's just here. I'll talk you through in a second the rest of it. So yeah, as I was saying before we were so pleasantly interrupted by the wonderful Patricia, a couple of inches from the neck, I drilled a couple more 3 millimetre holes and stuck them in the ground. Dig a little hole with your hand, scoop, 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 push it in by putting your hand inside of that, push it down so that the holes are about an inch below, a good inch below the level of the soil. I think actually with that one, they're buried about 4 inches deep into the soil, those. And I put 8 holes in, 2 about 2 inches off, and 2 about 4 inches off the soil. Hang on, I'm talking out my bum, aren't I here? So there's 4 close to the neck, 4 further up. They tend to drain quite quickly, so I'm not sure whether I've done the right thing there, but I'll be coming down every other day anyway and watering up, and it'll just seep in, and I've noticed that it's took a lot of water, really. It's a sort of, if you like, not saturate it, but get all of that soil nice and damp so that the roots can spread and they can seek. As Joe says, you want the roots seeking the water out anyway, so you don't have to go daft with it. But I'm thinking that, and Joe agrees with me on this one, that every sort of 2 to 3 days, if I fill those up right to the brim and let it all soak in, that'll be sufficient. Should be sufficient to adequately water the bed inside this greenhouse. And yeah, as I say, as you can see there, we're just leaving the doors open today to let the pollinators in, and there's been a couple of bees on those. The reason that the marigolds are in there, and at the moment if you're a UK resident, if you go to Asda, part of the Walmart family, Asda's have got those in. The marigolds are 10 in a tray, and you can get 3 trays of the marigolds, all like that, already in flower, for £5. So that's 30 plants for £5, which I don't think's a bad deal, really. There, about 15 in there, I'm guessing. Not really counted them, to be honest with you. The 15 or 16 of them in there. Yeah, that's £2.50's worth of marigolds. But what they'll do is they'll keep the fly off. We're hoping they're going to keep the white fly off. I'm not sure how they do with green fly and all that kind of carry on, but apparently the white fly don't like them. If anybody knows if marigolds are good as a deterrent for other fly, then let me know in the comments below. But that's our little setup. And I quite like it. I think it's quite ace. And they're coming along. Got different sorts of toms in there. We've got a couple of mix toms, which are the mystery toms. So they're either going to be beefsteaks or they're going to be moneymaker, apparently, them ones. One of the two. We've got Costoluto tomato there. That one is we know that one is a Black Russian tomato. And then there's 2 sun gold on the end. 2 sun gold. Now into the water I also put in a 10 litre in a 10 litre watering can, I put 4 tablespoons of Epsom salts in with it as well when I put the water in there. I gave it a general saturation first to dampen all the bed, and then I did another 10 litres where I'm putting 2 litres in each. Well, I think it's 1.75 or something like that, the litres there without the bases on. Basically, it took a full 10 litre water can with 4 tablespoons of Epsom salts in that were sort of mixed round until it disappeared into the liquid, and filled all those up, because the Epsom salts are probably going to be helping and assisting with the leaf, the curl on the leaf and all of that, and it doesn't do the plants any harm, the tomato plants any harm. So yeah, there we go for that one. Yeah, hope you like it. So what I've also been up to is I took a little bit of a risk because it's about a week early, but we don't think there's going to be any frosts coming on. So I've got the sweet corn in there, and that was the sweet corn that was taking up space inside the greenhouse, the glass greenhouse, and so all that's out. I think there's around about what did I say, 29, 30 in there. That got put out yesterday. So that's fine and dandy, innit? That's in there. If we go over to the other side, the giant pumpkins have gone in. So that's the daddy of the giant pumpkin that you can see there. That's doing alright. That got put in yesterday morning. That's looking fine. And that's the baby. The one that was started a couple of weeks later. Again, 2 giant pumpkins. Finished off putting the rest of the sweet corn in there. All told, we've got 57 like Heinz varieties, but they're all the same variety. 57 sweet corn plants in. Over that side I believe there's 28 on that side, and I think there's 29 in that bed there. I've also took another chance and I've put out the courgettes. So you've a yellow courgette there and 2 green courgettes there at the front. When I put those in, again I did the moulding thing where you dug out the hole, dug a big hole first that's about twice the size of the bucket that these were in. The buckets were these buckets that they were in, and I think they're like an 8-inch bucket, which these plants were in. And when I dug the hole, with the soil that I dug out of the hole that I knew I was going to be putting back into the hole, I mixed that with, again, some bloodfish and bone, and I put the 6X in as well. So it's a good handful of 6X and a good handful of bloodfish and bone, because they like the nitrogen. And I thought the bloodfish and bone will do them no harm as well, because it's a good general feed. It's got stuff there for the fruit, it's got stuff there for the roots, it's got things in it for the leaf growth. The 6X as well will give it a good start on the old nitrogen on the leafy side. So all of those went in with a good mix of that. And then of course when I put the pot in, all the back soil with the nutrients in was filled in around the side of the pot. I pulled the pot out, plopped that plant in there and watered it in well. Again, it had a good watering yesterday. That I think I used a full 10-litre watering can around all of those. I wish I could have shown you that what I shot yesterday. Mate's doing me head in that, because it was all step by step. But I hope you can grasp what I was doing when I put the when I took the soil out and I mixed in the amendments with it. I watered that in first before I put the actual plant in there, and then backfilled, watered up, got it nicely seated in there. Such a disappointment that I lost all that footage yesterday. I could kick myself right up the backside for not investing in better equipment, but needs must, and you know, you can't spend all your money on one thing, can you? So please bear with me on that, boys and girls. We've got a lot of stuff to spend on. You're spending about £1,000. Hang on. Yeah, so I sound like a moaning get, don't I? But when you've got kids, and we've got 2 young kids, it's childcare costs. You're both working, you're both earning a certain amount of money, which means you don't get any benefits. Now, people who need benefits, they need benefits, don't they? But when you're just above that threshold, you're getting out. So childcare for us, full-time childcare, is over £1,000 a month, and that's without deductions. When you get paid your salary, your wages, whatever it might be, you get a good 25 to 27%, whatever, that's deducted straight out your wages, national insurance, taxes. And then you've got council tax, all your bills and all that carry on, haven't you? Enough griping, enough whining. But what I am saying is that you've got limited funds, and when you've got limited funds, you can spend it on what you need to spend it on. It's a good thing in a way. It teaches you budgetary knowledge, doesn't it? Budgetary husbandry of your affairs, which is no bad thing. It'd be great if you won the lottery though, wouldn't it? Woo woo! So these irises have come up around Helen's tree, Helen's cooking apple tree. So, yeah, around the flower bed base there. She was going to rip them out because she thought it was grass about a month ago, and she's glad she didn't now, because they're all coming through nice. The spuds are flourishing, as is the bindweed, obviously. And it's all coming back after it got bitten by the frost a couple of weeks ago. It's all coming back nice. That's a good shot inside Bradley's cage, the big crawling net tunnel that I built. That's looking fine and dandy in there. You can see it quite clearly, I think, now through the netting. That red lettuce is looking ace, isn't it? Look at that red lettuce. Look at the colour. I'm mumbling and stuttering like a fool. You're mumbling and stuttering. Look at that there, boys and girls. Oh, and look at those bindweeds. Daddy Farmer shall have to deal with them. All looking spectacularly wonderful in there. Got some celery there I'm going to have to plant in as well. This is the thing at the minute, because everything's coming through, and it's coming through all fast and furious. It's finding the time and the space. More rampant behaviour in the centre bed. I'm going to have to probably start thinning these out, to be honest with you. I think they might struggle. Certainly get inside and do a bit of weeding. That's going to be a bit of a job with all that growth in there. But we had beds like this last year, where they were sort of overplanted, and they didn't do too badly. Swede down that side on either side of the red cabbage in the middle, but there's such growth coming through now. They've only been in there about, 3 weeks? Yeah, and the little baby plants to that in 3 weeks. Massive growth. A bit of death going on in here. So what I can do with these ones that I need to plant out, I'm thinking I'll replace those ones that have died off those brassicas that have died off in there with other things, because I've got to get something sorted out with these. I mean, look at that there, that's the parsnip, that's suffering, so I'll do that. I've got a few days off next week, so I'm going to be cracking on. The potato bucket growing feed experiment continues to bounce along, as you can see there, and as we've got the 12 buckets, Ulster Prince for 6, Red Duke of York for another 6, and what we were doing, if you've been following that, is we've got the Growmore in the first 2, we've got the Bloodfish and Bone in the second 2, and then in the third, so we've got in the third 2 we've got the chicken manure, and that follows on as well for the Red Duke of Yorks, Growmore, Bloodfish and Bone, chicken manure up at the top. Now in about a month's time, in fact about 5 weeks I think we've got left, I said I'd take them out at the first week of July, because that's 100 days, but we'll see how we get on with that on the 100-day potato feed experiment on your first earlies. We'll see how we get on with those. Stay tuned. This is the other family potato bed that we did. They're all bouncing along. When we had the cold snap about 10 days ago, and we got the cold wind coming through, we have got a bit of frostbite, but they are recovering. It seemed to hit this side of the plot the worst, and blacken off a few of the leaves, as you can see there, but they're coming back. They're coming back okay. Just wind burn, innit? Cold wind burn. Peas are doing fantastically well. The succession of peas, fantastically well. I won't do you another full a full catch up, but as you can see with your broad beans here, our broad beans are romping along. They're only quite small, aren't they, really, these as plants? They're only about 18, 19 inches high, the ones at the back. These are the later ones, the later sowings. Well, there's plenty on. And these are the ones that I sprayed with that garlic and cayenne pepper spray. And that seems to have deterred the pests. The little airborne buggy pests seem to be not so keen, don't they, on those? Those are the first potatoes, if you remember, that we put in February, bedded down 10 inches deep. And there's the mates that got put in about 7 weeks ago. The Sarpo Mira, I think, were there, and Desiree, I think, were here. I'll have to check. It was Desiree there, yeah. Desiree. Sarpo Mira. Pak choy and spinach. Again, and a good crop of horse's tail there as well. Mare's tail, horse's tail, whatever you want to call it. Growing on there. Open planted, these ones. Nice crop of bindweed at the back there. These onions are going on there spectacularly well. The overwintered onions there. Elsa Craig, overwintered. Doing right, doing good. Yeah. Come on, we'll take you up top. We'll get a bird's eye view, a pigeon's eye view. And here we are, up on top of the tiki hut. Surveying our kingdom, eh? Get a bit higher. Looks good from up here, doesn't it? I'll show you our patio area, which wants clean. It all wants a good tidy up, to be honest. But look at them poppies down there. So a bit of a blimp at the poppies. Cool, aren't they? Some iris coming up as well there, on both sides. Bird bath wants filling. Brenda's been down there, so she's left her cigs. So yeah, that's where we put the courgettes. There's the second onion and garlic bed. First onion and garlic bed is here. Sweet corn going in there. Broad beans in here. Spud bed. The other spud bed. Sweet corn. Giant pumpkins. Tasha's squashes, the spaghetti squash and the Jack Belittle pumpkins are going to be going in next week, and they're inside that over there. Well, they're going to be going in next week. All the potatoes are absolutely romping on. Look at that board of potatoes. Sorry about the wind, by the way. It's the beans. Still a bit more tidying up to do, but as you can see with these beds as well, when Mick dropped off all that wood chip the other day, I put it to some good use, and you can see the beauty of the pathways now. It's all been filled in. Along those borders there, we put the black weed membrane stuff down. Tucked it right underneath the hedgerows, and then stuck the wood chip on top of that. But again, this plot will eat wood. It'll eat the wood chip up, because I've still got to do it up there at the top. I'm off next week, and I'm hoping to get another drop up at the top, because I'll be taking about 15 or 20 barrelfuls to finish off at the top end. Sorry about the wind yet again. Cabbage and beans, good for your heart. But yeah, so the only thing we've got to really sort of cultivate and deal with at the moment is up there at the top end on the lady farmer's side. That area needs work. We have got another greenhouse there that we can put on, but I need to move the little black shed. I need that little black shed moving. So yeah, happy days. We'll be doing some more updates during the week, and probably be talking about the further plantings that we're getting in, and some seed starts that we're going to be doing, because there's going to be some more bucket growing going on. There is talk about utilising some of the space up here, putting a little parapet around, utilising some of the space up here for bucket growing up on the top of the tiki hut. And also there are plans afoot, so stay tuned for this, for when the solar power goes in. Got it all there set up. I got it off Tony O'Neill at UK Here We Grow from his shop last year. Never put it in. Regretting it now. Now's the time. I think that's going to be going on, you know, boys and girls, next week. In fact, I'm sure of it. Because that's got to be done. And me and Magical Michael, old Mac Darby, from old Mac Darby's farm, are going to be doing that next week, for sure. So stay tuned. Alright, for the solar. I've got a fridge as well. I've got a fridge that we're hoping that can be run from the solar setup, along with lighting, a water pump, and all sorts of carry on. So that'll be a good one for next week. I'll tie all that together in a wanna and get that out to you, so you can have a good look at that, how you do it. I'll do it as a step by step. I so wish I had not lost that footage that we got yesterday. I'm going to have to try and get it back some way, but anyway, never mind. C'est la vie. And we'll see you next time. Alright, keep growing with your head down. If I don't see you through the week, I'll see you through the window. And we love you all. Bye bye.